Tom, it is great to see you, especially after you just dropped the best MCU title possibly ever. This was fantastic.
You're so kind. Thank you so much. And I just want to salute your TVA t-shirt that I can see you wearing. I love that. You look
Thank
great.
you. Thank you so much. I have watched this finale so many times. I want to start with one specific thing that a lot of people have caught on to is you call back to Thor 1 when you say for you, for all of us, as that kind
Yes.
of final line as Loki. I hear from your directors and writers that that was your idea. So I would love to hear about how you dug into that encyclopedic Loki knowledge to land on that incredible line of dialogue.
That's very, well, it's very sweet of them to point it in my direction. I will say it's I think it's testament to the spirit of collaboration and the shared imagination that the producers and directors created on that set. The set never felt locked. It never felt constrictive. It was always live, very live environment. Everybody could have, anyone could have an idea at any time. And it's not always like that. So big respect to Kevin Wright, Justin Benson, Aaron Moorhead, Dan DeLue, and Castro Farahani, and our whole team, and Eric Martin, our head writer, because it just felt like until something was locked, until we were shooting something, we could still have a great idea. Anyway, long story short, there was a moment. Aaron and Justin turned to me and said, "I think in about 30 minutes we're going to be down in the airlock, and it's time." And I stepped out of the stage and I went for a walk, and then I just went for a little jog around the lot. It was a really beautiful morning, and I felt very I felt the kind of weight of the moment in a really profound way. That like this is it. This is everything I've been working towards for so long. And I was listening to some music, and it was a mixture of film scores, but one of them was the score from Thor by Patrick Doyle. And suddenly it just came to me in a flash. It was just genuine, like inspiration. Like that's what I said. That's what I say at the end, to Anthony Hopkins. And maybe that's what it should be now, but it means something very different. The resonance, the echo, the depth. It's new. It's new minted, and it's redefined. It just felt right. And I ran back in and I said to Aaron and Justin and Kevin and Eric, I said, "I've got it." I said, "Okay." And they all shut their eyes, and I said it, and they opened their eyes and went, "Yes." And then we did. Yeah.
What a story. I mean, the finale is, I've watched it so many times. It's incredible. And that line is perfect. I mean, kudos to you. And it's interesting because you say it means something very different. But at the end of this show, Loki now sits on the throne as the god of everyone's stories, making a sacrifice where it seems he may be alone, sacrificing himself for the betterment of everyone else. In Avengers Infinity War, Loki sacrificed himself for the betterment of everyone else. So what do you think that says about the core of this character, that even though it's a little bit different, the sentiment is similar?
Well, I always saw Loki as a broken soul, but I wanted to refine the soul. In the early phases of the films, I think the emphasis was on the brokenness and how his brokenness, his vulnerability, his grief, his loss, his loneliness hardened into something vengeful and angry and malevolent in some way. But underneath it, the character has always been engaged with ideas of belonging and identity and purpose. I think the difference between that moment in Infinity War and this moment at the end of season 2 is that it's what I found so moving about Infinity War is that Loki refers to himself as an Odin son. And so before his sacrifice, it's really a private admission of love and respect for his brother. In season 2, it's altogether deeper, more consequential, and more profound. It doesn't negate what happens in Infinity War, but I think his understanding of, as Mobius says to him, sometimes purpose is more burden than glory. I think his understanding of the weight of that is more complex and more profound.
My goodness, I could listen to your interpretation of this character all day long. Oh my gosh, it's so interesting. If this is indeed the end of the road for your journey as Loki 14 years later, is there anyone from the MCU saga, this franchise, that you wish you could have got a few more scenes with, or somebody you never even got a chance to work with, who was in another title? Man, I wish we could have shared a set because I would have loved to see our characters together.
That's so good. Good question. I don't know. There are a couple of characters I don't think Loki ever met the Guardians, if I recall.
Nope.
That could have been fun. I think.
You would have got tired of them so fast.
Okay. Yeah, maybe. I think he would have found them intriguing. I think it's interesting that Loki never comes face to face with Spider-Man. I think that's correct. I think he never meets the Winter Soldier, never meets Bucky or Sam. I always wanted to see, Loki and Strange is an interesting matchup, I think. Although in Ragnarok, I think Strange is 1-0 to Doctor Strange based on that particular interaction.
We need the rematch.
Yeah.
Oh man, I find it crazy. Also, like Loki and Iron Man only had, I think, 2 scenes together, maybe 3. It's just things like that when you think about it.
Yeah.
It is really cool. Thor is obviously a character that is very near and dear to Loki. Your two stories are very intertwined. This Loki at the end of season 2, I know there's been teases from the producers and stuff. We do want to see them reunite. It would be completely different versions of these characters than we've ever seen on screen together. Wow. What do you think the dynamic would be like between them at this point?
Oh, that's a really good question. I think it would be one of extreme surprise and confusion in a way. Like, also, it's really interesting that if season 2, a great thread of season 2, not just for Loki but for every character, Mobius, Sylvie, is are we in charge of our own story? And you can't know where you're going until you know where you've been, and you have to integrate your past and take responsibility for it so that you can move forward into the future with meaning and purpose. And I think both Thor and Loki have had to excavate and analyze the past and who they feel they really are and what they really want. But what's interesting about family as well, this is just me thinking about it, is sometimes if it would be difficult to let go of the preconception of who they used to be. Loki might be expecting Thor to behave in a certain way or be a certain way. Thor might be expecting Loki to be a certain way. And so I think there would be, I think initially it would be really confusing. But also, they've been apart for a long time. And no doubt they've been objects in each other's mind. And so, I wonder, a reunion would likely be, we'll see.
What an interesting perspective, because it's been, Loki left the Battle of New York and all they've changed a lot since then. I also saw you were asked about Deadpool 3 on the late night talk shows there. I know there's no word on whether or not anything's happening there, but that's another hypothetical I'd love to explore with you. Wade Wilson has quite the mouth on him, and Loki now quite a powerful guy. He's a bit of a trickster himself. Yeah. Is that, have you thought about like what that interaction would be like? How fun would that be for those two to cross paths? Like,
it would be hilarious. I think there would be, I'm very curious to see what Deadpool would say about Loki. I think he'd be withering, although, Loki famously has a silver tongue, so I think he'd give as good as he gets.
He's quick.
Yeah.
I just refuse to believe. I know it. Maybe this is just one of the stages of grief, but I just don't want this to be the end for Loki. It's one of my favorite characters in any medium ever, and there's plenty of theories, man, about Secret Wars. Maybe the Loki is going to represent like the new Time Stone in Secret Wars, stuff like that. Is this something like you're ready to let go of? Have you thought about whether you're going to want to be a part of this next Avengers ensemble? Anything like that?
It's so hard because, like, I'll be completely honest with you, Brandon. I have at least twice in my life said goodbye. And there's, I've like written to Kevin Feige and Luis D'Esposito and Victoria Alonso, but thank you so much. It's been like the role of a lifetime. And they've written notes back saying, come and see us anytime. You're always part of the family. We're always here. You've given us so much, and tears have been shed. So I think I'd be unwise at this point to be conclusive about any of it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we'll see. Time will tell, I guess. An open heart and open mind.
I'm grateful for the work you've put into this, and I'm hopeful to see you do it again. And so I just want to end it with this. There has been such a resounding stamp of approval from the fans on this show. Everybody I talk with online, everybody I talk with in life, we all have really adored what Loki season 2 did, what you all accomplished here. I'm curious if you've seen any of the reactions and if there's anything you'd like to say to the fans who really just loved going on this journey with you.
I will say this. As an actor, I never take for granted that anyone in the audience is going to be is a guarantee that people are going to be interested in what I'm doing. And I am been so honored by the way that the audience has taken Loki into their imaginations, for this length of time. And I know Loki means so much to so many for so many different reasons. And just, carrying the torch for the time that I have has been an absolute honor. And I'm so grateful to you. Thank you. Thanks for coming. Thanks for coming on the journey.
It couldn't have happened to a better person, man. Thank you so much for the time. Thank you for the ride, and hopefully talk to you again soon, man. Congratulations.
Thank you. Cheers, Brandon.